Okay, so it's just a short video at the moment. I started being able to colour in Pike, which was the colouring page I did as a bonus for the sketchbook tier last month. So Pike's another Critical Role character. And as you can see here, I'm just doing my block fill. I'm doing this by lassoing sections of my sketch and then creating a new layer and filling that lasso section, and then just tidying up the selection. Now I had some fun and games with this file in that normally when I've done like line art, I've done it in multiple layers, so I can select the line art on its own without any white fill, and I can color the line art. And it can be like just the flame effect or just the character or just the background line work. So I managed to lose about a month's worth of work recently with baby brain and trying to back things up, and I ended up erasing my entire hard drive. So my backup storage hadn't been done for about a month, so I'd lost the actual PSD file for this. But I still had the JPEG that I'd uploaded to Patreon. Yay! So I spent a bit of time working out how to separate the black lines from the white background information on the JPEG. So it turns out this is something you can do through channels. It's just something I've never had to do. Because if you're just turning a sketch layer to multiply, it makes the white invisible, but it doesn't remove the data, which means if you try and sort of add color to that layer, you're still adding it to the white. Anyway, lots of dicking around later. I did work out how to do this. So if that's something you guys are interested in, I can send you the link to the tutorial I found. But now you can see I can apply a gradient just to the line work, which gives me the effect I was looking for. It's something I've become quite fond of, instead of just relying on just boring old black lines. So Pike here is casting Sacred Flame. So now I can get that nice glow in the line work to sort of indicate where the lighting's coming from. So I move on to just blocking in more of the detail of her colour. So basically, I created a block out silhouette for her. Then I can use a selection tool to go, all right, I'm going to select part of her face and just fill in and shade her face, fill in and shade her hair. And then I think I move on to armour. Just going for the big details first, and then you move on to the smaller details. You may have noticed if you've seen me do this a lot that I like to start with faces because I feel like that gets the spirit of the picture. And if I've got the face sort of semi-worked out, I feel like I can work out what I'm doing from there, which I guess makes sense because it is the focal point. So I think I ended up like shading her quite pink to begin with, and then I dropped the color shading back. I always like to do that little bit of like warm tint around where the blood vessels would be strongest, like tip of your nose, just under your cheeks, around your lips and chin. Like it just makes it look a bit healthier. I also started out with a fairly dark grey-brown for her hair because she has white hair. And I've learnt when doing white hair, you don't start with white because then you have nowhere to go because you still want light and shadow and depth in something that's white. So if it's all white, it's one-dimensional. So you can see now that as I start to add white highlights, it looks white, but I still needed those sorts of warm greys underneath to give it the essence of, shadow. So now I'm dropping a couple of gradients around the place, using my clipping masks to clip them to my various shapes that I made at the very start. She's starting to flesh out now, which I really like the look of. So what I haven't mentioned is I did this while the baby was strapped to me, so I went a lot slower than I normally do.